What about me, Thomas? I'm a really useful engine, too.
Thomas was surprised.
No, Diesel. I'm sure Sir Topham Hatt means a really useful steamy. You'll never be that.
Hi guys, just a few hours ago I posted my latest Drift Trains, the Water and Fire special. Now, I've already gotten a ton of comments, thank you for the feedback, but there was one in particular that I wanted to address, and that was, somebody said the racism joke is getting old. Now, first of all, let me say, I totally understand what you're talking about. But I wanted to call this little impromptu meeting at the Midnight Society to discuss what exactly this joke means, especially meaning for me in my watching of Misty Island Rescue. Now, I'm about halfway through Misty Island Rescue. I started it a couple of months back. I mean, I had already seen it once before prior to starting to riff it, but now, okay, let's look at this piece by piece. We start out, the first 9-minute segment of Misty Island Rescue that I riffed featured talking about the Search and Rescue Center, delivery of the Joby Wood, and pretty much the Thomas thing, then Diesel steals the Joby Wood. Now, this is a critical moment in the special because it introduces you to your protagonist and helps you to get to know the character you're supposed to be following and sympathizing with throughout the special. Now, in this case, it's Thomas. We meet Thomas in the first few minutes of the movie. He's congratulating Harold for helping save a climber. That's all well and good. Then after that, you next see Thomas at the docks with all the other engines, seeing the Joby Wood being unloaded. So this is crucial time in a story to set up your protagonist. Now, Thomas is let's also talk for a minute before I get any farther in this about the topic of steam engine diesel engine feuding. Ever since Diesel was introduced into the Railway series, there has been an element of racial tension in the Thomas and Friends series. Now, this isn't to say that this is completely unprecedented, what occurs. Now, what's the problem? My problem with this is the following. You have Thomas, okay? You have, first of all, the Sir Topham Hatt says whoever's the most useful will be able to pull the Joby logs at the end of the day. So you have Thomas kind of idling there, and Diesel comes up. Thomas is boasting to anyone who will listen about how he's very useful and he'll definitely be able to pull the Joby logs. So Diesel says, "What about me, Thomas? I'm useful. I'm sure I could pull them." And so Thomas then utters the following line: "No, Diesel. I'm sure Sir Topham Hatt meant a really useful steamy. You'll never be that." Now, here's my problem with that line. This is our protagonist. This is the character that we are supposed to root for throughout all of their trials and tribulations. This is a character, this is somebody we should be able to, as an audience, to feel sympathy for. To somebody we want to see succeed as we watch them succeeding. Now, with Thomas, I'm a TV troper. I frequent that website a lot. There is a trope called dethroning moment of suck. A dethroning moment of suck is a moment that stands out above all other moments in a series or like a book or a movie, as the moment where it essentially hit its lowest point. A good example is Star Wars Episode 3, when Darth Vader goes, "No!" A lot of people would list that as the dethroning moment of suck for the film. Or the comic book Justice League Cry for Justice. In issue 7, a young girl is killed purely for shock value, and that's a commonly held belief. There's a commonly held belief that that's the dethroning moment of suck for Justice League Cry for Justice. I think Linkara had a whole big spiel over that, but I'm not going to encroach on his territory. Now, this moment, for me, in Misty Island Rescue, in the first 9 minutes of the movie, this was the dethroning moment of suck. Because you have your hero, your character that, as I said, the audience is supposed to sympathize with and be able to cheer for, is needlessly breaking down this other guy who just wants to help. Now, I know a lot of people are prejudiced against Diesel from the outgo, just because, you know, the whole, oh, he left the island, but then now he's back, and nobody seems to care that he got sent away a lot of times. But I don't give a crap about that. What I give a crap about is the fact that Diesel is, in this case, trying to do something good. He wants to be helpful. He wants to... yes, he may be devious Diesel, but yes, he's trying to do the right thing. Now, Thomas, our protagonist, then goes on to say the most racist... Yeah, I know, racist, I know. But, and I'm far from an authority on race relations or any of that, but I simply feel that was the moment when I was watching Misty Island Rescue that I could no longer sympathize with Thomas. Thomas becomes, again, TV tropes, becomes what's known as a designated protagonist. When you have a character who is utterly unsympathetic, who you can't feel for, who makes these kind of comments and is never once called out on it. Diesel is the one, and he makes a completely understandable action. Then he takes the Joby logs. He wants to be useful. He wants to do the right thing. And yes, the end result is that, arguably, after Thomas starts chasing him, he loses the Joby logs. But Diesel's intentions were pure. And Thomas is never once called out for his super racist views. As I said, I know I harp on this joke a lot, or I have a lot recently. Like, I think it came up no less than 3 times in my latest Rift Trains. And I understand that some of you think it's getting old. And I'm taking that into consideration. The next one, I'll see if I can leave that out entirely. But it will... What I'm trying to say is it will continue to taint my viewpoint on Thomas. Because... Okay, I remembered what I was trying to say. I just edited out a very long and uncomfortable silence. Thomas's comment towards Diesel is completely baseless. There's no purpose towards it other than being mean-spirited. And this is a show for children. This is a show where you're supposed to, in addition to everything I said about protagonists, you're supposed to be able to learn something from your protagonist. The actions that they take, yes, there's an overall plot theme in the movie with Thomas thinks he makes good decisions, and he learns eventually that his decisions aren't all good. That is a good thing. However, what are children supposed to take away from this? Are they supposed to see Thomas making these kind of comments and think it's the right thing to do? I just don't understand it. Maybe Sharon Miller knows, but I don't. There's actually, if any of you read the SIF blog, where I believe Simon, one of the guys who posts there, did a in-depth review of Misty Island Rescue immediately after seeing it, and he discusses this at length, and this issue that I'm discussing with you now, he discusses it at length and much better than I'm doing. So I would recommend checking that out. If any of you know where Soda Island Fansite is, you can probably find the blog from there. But it's worth checking out, because he says it a lot better than I do. But, yeah, I wanted to clear some stuff up and explain my problem with this to you guys. So, at least for until the end of Misty Island Rift Trains, expect the occasional Thomas racism joke. But I am listening to you. I do know that it's getting old, and that will be taken into consideration. Alright. Good night, guys.